welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be speaking about dealing with loss. And I have an amazing lady with me, so I'm just going to let her tell you her name, a little bit about herself, how many children she has, and we'll take it from there. So
okay, hi everyone, my name's Colette. I'm married. I'm a mother of 2 children plus 1 angel. I work in education and I'm an up-and-coming makeup artist.
And could you tell them what your name is for your makeup?
Oh yes, my company is called Beauty for Ashes.
Woo!
Yes.
You said angel. Can you let the people know what you mean by 1 angel, and just tell us a little bit about your story?
Okay, so when I say mother to an angel, I mean a mother to a child that's passed away. A year and a half ago, September 2015, my youngest child, Janae Ruth, was 20 months old and she passed away in her sleep.
So that must have been a lot of things for you.
Yeah,
definitely a lot of things for you. And how did you feel at that time? Okay,
the first feeling for me was shock, because it was unexpected. I'd gone out one day, and I just got a phone call from my husband saying that she didn't look so well and she wouldn't wake up. So I took my time getting home, but as I got closer and closer to home, I think panic came over me. But when I went through the door and I saw her, she was just basically sleeping peacefully but cold. So the first feeling was shock, and then it was disbelief. Yeah, and then the pain, fear, everything else sets in. Yeah.
So I know you said that you know, it was a shock. But can you just tell us a little bit, like, why it was a shock, like the build up to her death or your pregnancy? Like, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, let's start from there. Okay, so basically I got pregnant in summer 2013. My pregnancy was going okay up until January 14. I think it was my birthday actually. I started to feel unwell. I just started to get headaches. So I went to the hospital. And they basically said that my blood pressure was a little bit high, but it was okay to go home. The next day again, I wasn't feeling any better. I went back again, same thing again. This time they tested my urine. I had a little bit of protein, which is sugar, in that thing. So they said, okay. I stayed at the hospital maybe for 2 hours, and then they said, okay, you're gonna go home now. Again, third day again, I was at work and I could not work. This time I was only 6 months pregnant. So I went back to the hospital again, and they said, okay, the protein had gone up another, I think it's 2 points or something like that, and my blood pressure was starting to creep. So this time now they kept me at the hospital for 6 hours, and then at maybe 10 o'clock at night gave me some tablets and sent me home again. The next day, again, even after taking the tablets, I still wasn't feeling any better. Went back again. So basically, the short haul of it is that I spent the whole week going to the hospital. They kept sending me home. So they sent me home for the last time on the Friday and said, come back on the Monday morning, because on Saturday, the hospital would be short-staffed, so they wouldn't be able to see me. So come back on the Monday morning. Basically, what had happened was on the Saturday evening, I started to feel unwell. And I just went to sleep. I woke up early hours of Sunday morning, maybe 2, 3, and was really unwell. My belly was cramping. I had diarrhea. Sorry to be so graphic, but this is just how it, diarrhea, and we called in the hospital. We couldn't get through until eventually about 6 o'clock we just decided, let's go to the hospital again. So I went down to the hospital, and basically, they put you in a room as they do, but the time that I went in, unfortunately for me, was shift change. So anybody who has been in hospital at shift change time knows what the deal is. You have to wait until they swap over and whatever. In that time, the pain was getting worse and worse and worse. So basically, it took maybe an hour before I was actually properly triaged. And in that time, I was back and forth, stuck in between the toilet and going to the bed, toilet, bed until I just couldn't take it anymore. Anyway, the long and short of it is that my placenta had abrupted.
Okay.
So there was a big fuss in the morning. I think it got to maybe about 8:30 when they realised, but they couldn't find. There was lots of things that happened that morning. They couldn't find a scan machine. They couldn't find a doctor to come. They called for a doctor and the doctor couldn't come. But thanks be to God, I'm still alive to tell the tale. Basically, so yeah, my placenta had abrupted. So it turned out that I ended up having to have an emergency C-section.
Right.
So by the time they brought my daughter out, she'd actually passed, and they had to resuscitate her. So I think they spent maybe an hour trying to resuscitate her until they eventually did. So from that, from resuscitating her, they could see that they call it APGARs, when a child is born, they test how they're breathing, and their responses and the colour of their skin, I think when they pinch it or something like that. Her scores were really, really low, so they knew that something was drastically wrong. It turned out that she'd been starved of oxygen, so they had to rush her now to a baby intensive care unit at another hospital. So from that now, obviously bearing in mind I just had a C-section, but I was under anaesthesia, so when I came around maybe a couple of hours later, they said to me that the baby has to go to another hospital. Obviously I was too sick to go anywhere, so my husband was going to go with the baby to the next hospital to see as much as they can do, but they weren't very helpful. So I just remember, and you know, who's been under anaesthesia will know that you're not really your full 100 anyway. But I just said, you know what, I'm just going to trust God with this one. Yeah, that's all I could do at the time, because I couldn't move, I couldn't get up. Obviously I've just had my half my body cut in half, so I couldn't move. And I just remember saying to my husband, it's going to be all right. But the doctors are like all doom and gloom, they're not very hopeful. It was like, they don't even think she's going to make it 24 hours. But you know, when you just believe, you know, the Bible says if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, that was all I needed, and that's all I had on that at that moment. So they wheeled this little plastic box in, I hate to say it like this, with all these tubes, and I just saw this little thing, if I'm honest, under a bit of plastic, and I just remember putting my hand there, you know, as you do, you go, and she grabbed my finger. But it was like the smallest hand ever. Like, I've never seen anything as small as that. Anyway, so onto that, it took me about 4-5 days to get a bed at the hospital that she was at, and eventually I got the bed at maybe 11 o'clock at night. So maybe by the time I got to the hospital, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I remember asking to go and see her, but before I'd left for the other hospital, I was warned by the doctors that she kept desatting, and basically her heart kept stopping. So they were saying that it would be inhumane the next time if her heart was to stop, if they were to resuscitate. So I was to prepare myself. And I remember while the doctor was speaking to me, basically, you know, like I visualise myself. I don't know, because I'm the sort of visual person. When someone's talking to me, I've gone to where they're speaking. So like I pictured in my mind, basically, that I was picking out a coffin, and it was like, no. Something snapped in me and said, no, I need to go and see my baby. So when I went to the hospital, the first thing I was asked to do was go and see her. So when I went to see her, and you know, you go into this room and there's loads of babies. It was like maybe 10 other babies in the room, and it's all beep, beep, beep. All these machines, and it was blue, because it's blue lighting, because lots of premature babies. I remember going in there and I'd be like, wow, because obviously I've never been in there. You see things on TV, but what it looks like on TV is totally different in real life.
Because my little son, he when he was born, he had water in his lungs. So they had to take him there. He was there for like 7 days. And it was the worst day of my life. I felt like
it's hard. It's hard.
And I couldn't be with him. Like I had to be there and go. And come. It just felt like I didn't have a baby.
When you have a baby, you're a 24-hour carer for. When you have a baby like that, that's all out of your hands. You don't get to be a mum. I remember I'm lactating, I'm emotional as it is, like it was really, really hard for me. But I do remember going there and I just looked at her and like, I just see this little thing and like, I could see like she was jerky, she was really jerky, and like there was like, I can't touch her. That was it, I can't touch her. And I was saying, what do you mean? We prefer if you didn't, because she's really thing. But again, it was just like, listen, if I don't have anything else, I've got crazy faith, yeah? I said, no, I need to do something very, very quickly. And all I did was I just laid my hands on her and said, God, like you raised Jesus from the dead, I'm trusting you with my child's life. I just laid hands and prayed over her and went to my bed. So then the next morning, when I got up now, we went to go and look for her. They were saying, oh, Miss Collinson, baby Collington started to breathe over the machines. This is what I'm saying. We have a God that is always able. And I really believe that the fervent prayer of the righteous avails much. And even though I wasn't so righteous at the time, God heard my prayer at the time. So like that was a plus for me. Now remember, this is a child that they said is not going to be here in 24 hours. So this was on the 6th day. The 6th day, the 6th day. Yeah, they said, so they're going to start removing some because she started to breathe over the machine. So she didn't need the breather machine. By the 7th day, she didn't need a lot of the other machines. The only thing she needed was her feeding tube and the saturations, just to make sure things. And she just started to get better and better from that. Obviously, I said that she was born with brain damage, so she's come with a lot of complications. But par in that, God is able, and like she was healthy. Like, you had babies that were born at a younger gestation than her that were making it. So there was no reason for her not to, if you get what I'm saying, kind of thing. So basically, she spent 6 months in neonatal units, to and fro. She did Great Ormond Street, she did Royal London, they were fabulous. Where else did she? She did Homerton, and then she did North Mid as well. And I'm grateful. So eventually, I did get to take her home, and she was getting better and better. So what brain damage does when they're deprived of oxygen at birth, basically it causes brain damage, which in turn we class as a disability called cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy. Same for me. Cerebral palsy. So with her cerebral palsy, she was epileptic. She had she had to eat through a tube and all of that, but that was fine for me, because you know what, I believe that from you got life, you got everything. From you're able to breathe, she was able to breathe for herself. Everything else, obviously, we had to do for her. But it was just a wonderful experience. Like, it showed me the value of life, because obviously I've got 2 older children and a stepson, and there was nothing ever wrong with them. So to have a child that needed 24-hour care, and it was a drastic difference, but it taught me to appreciate. If I could say anything, it taught me how to appreciate life and the simple things. So as I was saying, she was doing really, really well. She made it to 20 months.
Well, that's
nearly 2 years. Nearly 2 years. So that's why I said it was such a shock when she died, because we wasn't expecting it that day. But we know that all things work together for our good, and everything. There's a time for everything. The Bible says that there's a time for everything. There's a time to live and there's a time to die. And she was just here for a time. So so that's how what can I say? Obviously, I'm not, I made my joy be in the Lord. So they say that weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Right now, I'm in my morning, because I know that even though she's not here in the physical, she's in the best place that she can be. She's in the right hand, seated at the right hand. So, like, I can only be but joyous. Do you get what I'm saying? Because right now, heaven's the best place to be. It's better than earth right now.
People when this happened.
So this happened September 24th, 2015. So that's a year and a half ago.
So that is not long, people. And look at this amazing lady. She is smiling, glowing, and it is only by the grace of God. And, you know, I'm just so excited for your future. And I know that your story is going to help a lot of people. So we've heard your story. And obviously, as I said, you're glowing. you know, you may have your up days, you might have your down days, but whew, what effect did this have on you and loved ones around you after the death of your daughter?
Wow, that's a good question. Okay, I'll start with the effect that it had on, okay, my immediate family. So my son, my other daughter, my husband's, it brought us so much closer together.
Oh, that's good.
Because only we knew the impact that that baby had on our lives, because obviously we were looking after her day in, day out. So it was like, it was definitely a great loss, especially for my middle daughter, because she was like her second mummy. Like, it was really, really hard for her. My son, he didn't really speak as much, but yeah, he was quite emotional about it. And definitely my husband too, because when I was at work, it was her and him. Yeah, so my husband's quite a house husband, and he's like, he's always with his kids and like, good like that. So like, yeah, it really, yeah, it did have quite a great effect on our family, but it brought us together. We started to pray more, do more things together, as in spend more time, yeah, because we realised that time is precious and we just never know the hour nor the minute. And obviously if we had a baby that was just one that passed away, what much less us. Do you get what I'm saying? Not that we're living with the fear of death, but we've got to appreciate,
but we know it's inevitable,
yeah, we know that it's inevitable. There's only one thing guaranteed in this life, and that is death. The only thing guaranteed in this life is death. So yeah, we started to make more of our family time. So we take one weekend every month where we all get together and go away, just the four of us, and do something. Obviously we go to church together, we do the usual, go cinema and stuff like that, but we make it a point where no phones, no friends, shut off from the world and just do family time, just us. My daughter, she's 13, has had to get counselling via her school, which I commend them for that, because it took a little while, because yeah, this, as I said, really affected her, because she was like her second mummy. So she, being the youngest, always wanted a little sibling. So obviously she had a little sibling and then it was gone. Yeah, so for her, she couldn't understand. And also at the time that this happened, she'd just given her life to God. Yeah.
So it was a bit...
Yeah. She basically, when the baby was in hospital, she just came one day and said, Mum, I want to give my life to God. Because I believe that if I give my life to God, God's going to keep the baby and, you know, stuff like that. So for her, it kind of, yeah, I think it caused a little bit of confusion. She was like, how could God make this happen? And, you know, I had to show it to her biblically how these things can happen. And we don't mourn when somebody dies. We celebrate the life that they had. And even though she's only here for a year and a half, nearly 2 years, she had a big impact, as I said.
Of course, yeah.
She had a big impact on those who were around her. So, and like, that's the greatest thing, you know, we're all put on earth for a purpose, and her little purpose was to bring us all closer together as a family, I believe. So, yeah, so that was the impact that she had.
Amazing. Yeah. And, like, how did you get through the loss? And before you answer that question, you know, I want to actually really speak about loss in a sense of no loss is bigger than any other loss.
No.
And there may be some of you out there that have had miscarriages, or you may have decided that you had to have an abortion, or like with Colette, you may have given birth to a child and lost a child. It could have been stillbirth. Yeah. So, you know, we all have, as mothers, when we lose a child, it's a loss, no matter when it happened, what stage it happened, etc. It doesn't even matter if it was just a few weeks into your pregnancy. At the end of the day, you were prepared to be a mother and you were carrying life, and it's not there. So, like, how did you get through this loss? And I know that this advice will help anybody with any loss.
Okay, I'm going to touch on something else that you just said, also,
please,
if you don't mind. Okay, okay, how did I get through? I'm going to answer that. I'm still getting through.
Yeah.
Daily. Yeah, if I'm honest. Each day is different. Okay, like for instance, as soon as Christmas time came, I started like Christmas, then you got New Year's Day. From New Year's Day, I realised that I'm counting down the days till my baby's birthday. It's inevitable. Like, because even though she's not here, she still had a birthday.
Yeah,
also, because her birthday and my birthday was in the same week. It's so hard. Like, I find that on my birthday, as much as I'd want to celebrate and thing, I've had 2 birthdays now. She's had 2 birthdays. I've had 2 birthdays since she passed, and like, they were the hardest days. The hardest days for me so far. On the year anniversary, it wasn't so. Leading up to it, I was like, but actually on the day I was fine. It's more the birthdays. I realised that, I find it a bit harder. Second, the other thing that I wanted to touch on is that the loss thing, as you said, that no loss is bigger than any. And I just want to share this as an encouragement to those who might be watching this. Prior to having Janaea, I hadn't carried a baby full term for 10 years. Yeah, there's 10 years between her and my middle child.
Yeah.
And since losing Janaea, I've lost 2 babies. I haven't carried again, right? And up to last week, I was praying to God about it, and I was like, I feel like my body's cursed. Why is it I can't carry any babies, or why did my babies keep dying, right? And what I come to the realization is that, because I'm the sort of person that, do you ever hear, sometimes you feel pain and you get numb to it. You get numb to it.
It's
like, okay.
It's
like, okay, it's another part of life, that's how I was prior to having Janaea. And then after, I had a bit of hope, obviously, that I think. And since, obviously, again, as I said, I've lost 2 babies since, I realised that, again, everything has its time, right? And God clearly tells us that everything that we go through works together for our good, right? So, okay, maybe my body's fighting against me at the moment, but in due time, I believe that God is able, right? And I'm trying my bestest not to make having another baby my way of coping with the loss of losing Janaea, because lots of people, and I'm sure a lot of people can testify to this, that they lose a baby and then they get pregnant straight away. So that it doesn't negate the fact that you've lost a child. It doesn't. So what God has shown me is that you need to deal with your loss. So it's all right for me to have bad days, cry if I want to cry, not get out of my bed, but it's not all right for me to stay that way. So this is how I'm getting through it, day by day. I'm still getting through it. I haven't gotten over it. I can smile and I think because the grace of God is sufficient, because I'm still alive at the end of the day and I've still got a purpose to fulfill. So even though, like a piece of me would have died with her, of course, because she's my blood, she came from me, but at the same time, the piece of me is she's alive in me. Like my whole business was formed out of that loss. Do you get what I'm saying, kind of thing? So God uses things. Out of every bad situation, something good can come from it. So I would say to those of you guys who are dealing with loss, talk to somebody. If you can't talk to, because I don't feel like I can really talk to my family and my friends because they don't understand. The best way for me, the most therapeutic is talking to somebody who's been through or who is going through exactly what I am going through and have been through. That is good. Also speaking to a counsellor, because this is what God places these things on these people for a specific reason, so they're trained for this sort of thing. So that's, and obviously you would seek godly counsel if you're a Christian, and even if you're not, you can still speak to God. Even if you're not a Christian, you can just sit and have a conversation. It doesn't have to be no whooping and hollering. It's just like, God, I'm really not feeling so good today. Help me to get through this. Exactly. So I would urge you to talk about it when you can. Yeah, but as I said, finding someone who's been through, who knows what they're talking about. Because, you know what I find so patronising is, oh, you'll get over it.
Have you been through it?
You can't tell somebody who's going through something to get over it, when to get over it, how to get over it. Yeah, these things take time. So as I'm saying, like, I'm not totally over it, but I'm going through it. And, you know, God is able, like, I just said that his grace is sufficient. And like, as he said that he'll never leave me nor forsake me. He's given me a comforter. Where man way fail me. My husband don't understand some of the time. Yeah. like he keeps a firm eye on me. And that's good when you got somebody, like, he's always like, you're right today. Because he can tell by my demeanour sometimes that I might not, I'm away with it today. And I'll be like, well, today's not one of them good days and whatever. And he understands and it's cool. It's same, like, I monitor my kids as well, especially my daughter. Like, she has her days as well, where I know that she's thinking, pondering, and, you know, yeah, it's good to talk, and it's good to get on with your life.
I think that's
also
an important point that you made
get
about
on with your
children
life.
as well, is that even if your children seem cool, talk to them. Just make sure that, you know, they know that it's okay to speak about it, because not saying that you do, but some people may just have never spoken about it again, so the child doesn't feel like it's a safe environment to speak about it. So definitely speak to your children. Loss in any form, it can affect children. And I believe I was quite naive to a situation that happened with my daughter where she had lost her godmother. And even though towards the end of her life she wasn't really around, but she knows, one, that was my godmother, two, there's pictures of us together, and three, there's a memory. She may not have been there the last years, but there's still a memory.
She's still going to remember something.
Exactly.
And this is the thing, we take it for granted what kids remember. Yeah, because we don't remember things. Because we adults have a way of pushing things to the back of the mind.
Yes, trust me, I know. Sometimes people tell me things and I'm like, what did that? When did that?
Yeah,
but when did that?
Because we don't want to deal with. Yeah. So we push things to the back of the mind. So, but kids now, they're like, they got elephant brains. Yeah, they have the brain of an elephant.
So you already answered my question, which was the last one, is what advice would you give others? Is there anything else that you would share with somebody that has gone through loss? Or what's the last nugget that you would leave with somebody right now watching and just dealing with that? And
you will get through it. You will get through it. You have to get through it. This is not the end of the world. You've got life, you've got air in your body, you've given grace to go another day. You will get through it.
Definitely. I just want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your story and, you know, being so open and transparent. Like, it's just absolutely necessary in this season. And just coming and collaborating with me. I am going to leave Colette's details below. She will be launching a YouTube channel soon. I will make sure of it.
Yes, so there'll be a link to it.
Yeah, so I will link all her information where you can find her on Instagram, and also you can find her YouTube channel. But don't sleep on her, she's coming. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you again.
Support the movement, people. Desire to inspire mums. This is great. This is really, 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 really great. Like, and thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, because, you know, we need platforms like this to encourage one another. Each one is going to reach one. And you're right. I believe that we go through these things in life so that we can share our experiences with others and give others a hope, because that is what it is, you know, giving hope to your fellow brother or sister. And men, obviously, I did forget to mention while I was talking that, you know, this too can affect men. So men, you can take the same advice that I've given to the ladies for yourself.
Because I know I've got some male viewers.
Yeah, you will get through it. And as I said, I recommend that just talking to somebody. Don't keep it all in, because no man is an island. No man is an island. We need each other to survive. So yeah. So thank you again, Jasneth.
Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate the opportunity, the platform, and, you know, anytime.
Okay. Peace.
Bye.